Hi, everybody. This is Helen, and I teach at the Dorothy Benson Senior Services Center. And this is week 4 of our zipper pouches class. And today we're just going to go over what we started last week, which was um, the single zipper, meaning we split apart a zipper. And here we go. So this is a zipper that we split apart into one, and we just sewed one side of the zipper tape, and then we removed this and we had to reinsert this again, which was probably the hardest part. Okay, so when you close it, there's no in the zipper tape on that side. It just opens up like that. And I put a link to a pattern I found on the internet, which I thought worked better, but after I tested it, I made some modifications. Now, the good thing about this is I have one flat bottom on this, so when you open it, it kind of opens up like a clamshell, okay? And you can have stuff in there. All right. It is lined. Right now, for this pattern, I kind of use this pattern. The fabric is folded before it is cut, so that's the fold line. And I made a different one. I made one that's slightly larger. Okay, so it's a little bit larger this time, and I made a more of a curve here. Okay, so this is kind of like it's a little bit long here, and then it goes there. I kind of made it more of a arc here, right there. All right. Now that's where the zipper goes. And I did not cut this part. I found it easier if I didn't cut that part on the fabric. So you can fold your fabric and cut it, or you can just, do a single layer and lay the, this and then, it's okay. You need two, right? You need the outside fabric and then the lining fabric. This time on the outside fabric, I fused it with interfacing. This is called armor with interfacing, used usually in garments. That's all I had. You can use whatever you want. You want to use a fusible, and you want to fuse it all the way. You're gonna go ahead and include it in your seam. And after I fused it and after I stitched it, in the previous video, you'll see how I stitched it. I actually went ahead this time and took pinking shears and I clipped it. So there's the zipper tape is in there. So just a little bit of the zipper tape also got clipped. And that made a big difference in the curve, okay? Because the zipper tape is really stiff and, it just doesn't make a nice curve. And after I did that, on the, let's see, what part would this be? This would be the bottom of your bag. So you'll have two layers, and you bring them to a V point. And I brought both of them together and I stitched them together perpendicular to that seam line. But what I did was I made the lining, I scooted the lining a little bit up so that the lining will end up a little bit smaller overall in size than the outside fabric. Now I could go ahead and slice this and cut it, but let me show you what happens if I turn it inside out. I mean, I gotta find, I leave an opening right there in the lining. So I'll turn this inside out. And that's always fun. So this is a very easy, quick pattern to make. Unfortunately, you end up with one side of the zipper tape, and I recommend a 22-inch zipper tape, something a little bit longer than what you're going to end up with. So I think you can go online and buy the little zipper pull, the tab part, and use the other side too, but that's if you're going to make a whole lot. Then you can probably buy the little tabs and just buy the actual zipper tape. I'm not really quite sure. Okay, so when you turn it inside the out, the lining is going to come out first, and you have the hole there. And then you do this, and because I had stitched that triangular part, because I had stitched the two together, the lining is not going to come out. Okay, and because I stitched it or a little bit, made the lining part just a tad bit smaller, it's not as bulky on the inside. It lays pretty flat. So this is what my piece looks like open, and then close. Okay, I didn't put a tab on mine, but I guess you could put a tab on there. You could insert a tab in this seam when you sew it. Let's see. On this side, I would hand stitch the tab if you wanted to put a tab on that side. So it ends up like this kind of a shape. And because I interface the outside fabric, it's a little bit, it holds up a little bit better. Okay, this one, I think I interfaced the lining, I think. Yeah, so I don't like that. I think the outside fabric's better interfaced. Okay, so today we're going to talk about, we made quite a few of these. We made the regular pouch, and then we made the triangular pouch. And one of the things just keep in mind is make the lining just a hair smaller when you stitch it. Just make, just stitch it a little bit, make it in the end, make it a little bit smaller, because that way then it's not as bulky. You don't have all that excess fabric on the inside. This one, I actually opened it back up and turned it inside out, and restitched the lining to make it a little bit smaller, because it still has a whole bunch in there. So this one's a little bit better because every time I sewed, I made the lining just about 2 millimeters smaller. So it's a little bit better. Okay, and the lining is held in place right here to the outside fabric. It's not held in place here, so you might want to stitch it, tack it down a little bit here. Okay. Otherwise it might come, out. All right, so we made the triangle pouch and then the single zipper pouch. And this is kind of fun because if you needed to, like, if you had you can actually put a little needle cushion in here too, and open it, and then let's say you had a workshop to go to. So you can put your needle cushion in there with all the pins in there, and then just shut it like this. And that way, your pins won't snag on something or whatever. Okay. Now the first class, we did the simple zipper pouch that was instantly lined. So it's lined as we sewed it along, and the zipper is visible. So, you might want to do a colorful zipper, and it has a box pleat right here. Now you can take this and make it any size you want. Just keep in mind that you want to make a little cloth tab, extend the zipper right here, because then when you turn it inside out, when you turn the zipper, it's not as bulky. Okay. So long time ago, somebody gave me this bag, and the size works really well. Hold on just a second. The size works really well. And as I used it, and it has a zipper on it, okay? Okay, as I used it, a couple of things came to mind. I can wash this, by the way. And this one's not lined. It's actually, I think it has binding on the inside. Let me see. Yeah, this one has binding on the inside, all right? And it actually has a hanging pocket. So that's a hanging pocket on the inside. So I based it on this size. And I decided I don't want to make anything this complicated. because you got this extra strip of fabric here. And then where the zipper is, you have this going on. Okay, and so this will start to get really bulky to stitch and everything, right? But I like the fact that you can adjust the strap. Now, one thing I found out is if you have a white strap, it gets kind of soiled here. So I decided not to do that and use a color strap. So this is the one I made. And instead of having that bulky, you know, all those layers of fabric, I just used this technique where we lined it instantly, okay, and just made it a different shape. So you can see my purple zipper, and this one, and I had the tab I sewed, so it turns, and then on the inside, I actually used leftover, I think this is, it's bedspread fabric, yeah, and it looks like it's worn out, so I'll have to patch it there. And I made pockets, okay, and I also put in a pocket on the outside, and this time, I used a gray colored, I think this is cotton webbing, but it's really, really thick. And I went ahead and got the, actually, I think when I bought the hardware, it was one of those that has the little, like a buckle thingy. Okay, I guess I could sort of try to take that off, but I'd have to saw it off, probably too hard. So I just kind of like wrapped it, you know. Now, the reason why I did this is because this webbing, this cotton webbing is so hard and stiff that I knew I couldn't sew it into the bag itself. And I couldn't use it as a thing to attach this part, this hardware. So I just created I just, you know, made a little tab-like thing and used that. And then right here, I couldn't fold it. Okay, on this bag, let's see if I can show you. They have this isn't a webbing, this is kind of like canvas fabric. They, and obviously they had a heavy duty machine because it's really thick layer of canvas. They folded and stitched it like that. I couldn't do that with the webbing, so all I did was I extended it with this fabric and hand stitched it on there. And you know, you have to have a pretty big sharp needle for this, a thick needle. And this works just fine. So it's adjustable. And on this side, all I did was hand stitch this on to the bag, reinforced it. And then the end, if I try to fold it over, you know, to hide the rough seam, it was just way too, this guy's really thick. So I just added this and covered the end, okay? And it becomes like a design element. So once again, this has a box pleat here. It is completely lined, but it's lined with the padding on one side. I think it's only one side. Yeah, I only have the padding on one side and then here. And the reason why is because the phone pocket is on the padding side. So if when I had the phone in here, there's a pocket in here for the phone or glasses or whatever. If I hit it against something, it'll be protected by that padding. Okay, so in this one, I made it slightly bigger than the one I based it on. I don't really like, I guess because I washed it, it gets all wrinkled, but I just didn't like this idea, because then I would have to clean up the seam and bind the whole thing, which is okay, but it just was extra work for me. So this is like single layer canvas fabric, and the inside looks like that. Okay, so the inside looks like that, and this is really, really thick. It's just impossible on my machine. So go. And it's kind of messy too, you know, it's started to fray here and it's been bound. So I just wanted to improve on it a little bit more. Also, don't forget, I put that key, yeah. So when I open it on the, I had that guy here, so I can put my key on here and find my key easily. Okay, so today, let me see if I can inspire you to take scraps of fabric or find all kinds of fabric and make your own personalized bag. Now this guy doesn't have a zipper, okay? And it has a flap, and this is just a crossbody bag, and it's really easy to make. All you do is, and this one is lined again with some fabric I found. It's kind of a thick, it's not super thick padding, but it's pretty padded. I just took a long rectangle, just a long rectangle, okay? And sewed this guy onto this fabric. They turned it inside out and extended this side to become the flap. And all I did was make binding. You don't even have to have it on the bias because it's all straight or grain. And I just bound the whole thing. That's all I did. I did attach a pocket. And this one actually was a piece of test piece. I tested discharging paste. It takes out the dye color. So this is a navy blue fabric color. And I did the discharge paste several times and it brought it down to this off-white color. And these are French knots I just stitched on there. And this isn't a cutout. This is just discharged image. And then I just did some white stitching here and just to bring it out. And I don't know why, but I got a bunch of French knots here. I think it's because I like French knots. I did a couple of stitching on the flap, okay? And that's just to keep the two layers of fabric together. I could have interfaced this part, made it a little bit thicker, but I mean, it's just a crossbody bag. And all I have is one button, and this is that buttonhole loop. Okay, it's like a blanket stitch. That's all that is. All right. And then made the straps and I attached the straps. Okay. I do have this here. I'm going to remove this and put it on the inside because I found out that if I had the key on the outside, it just swings around way too much. So this guy's going to get removed. And I think this came off of a bag or something. And I'm going to put it on the inside, okay, somewhere. And I may have to reinforce it with a patch of cloth here or on the inside, okay? Now, if I wanted to, I can continue to stitch on this. This is printed fabric. And it's this printed fabric, but here I used the back side. It was a little bit different, you know, color tone. So I used the back side, I used the front side of the fabric for here. So I encourage you to just experiment. And actually this fabric is leftover from a pair of pants I made. Okay. So, you know, I rarely throw away my scraps. I should, but it's just fun to just have all this laying around and just put it together one day, made on a whim. Okay. So that's fun. Now, I have a habit whenever I go, you know, even to the grocery store or IKEA is just down the street, in Target, I get sucked into buying whatever fabrics. This was a IKEA placemat, this fabric, okay, and that's what it looked like. So I took that fabric and I just made a very simple bag. Okay, crossbody bag again. I mean, it doesn't even have a flap. And this fabric came off of, it's like a summer, I'll call it Japanese sweatpants. How's that? It's woven, but it's like a simple kimono top, you know, almost jacket length and kind of like long shorts. Okay. and it had these straps on it to tie the kimono top. So I used that fabric and stitch it on here. Now, right here, this was where the strap was attached to the kimono jacket, and I left it on there. I guess maybe for a design element, or I forgot about it, but I just had this little tiny square there. And then I took the leftover placemat fabric and made a pocket, and it's not even lined because this woven fabric is very, very thick. It's 100% cotton. I did pre-wash it. And then to hide the edge, instead of binding, I just folded over and folded over, and it's stitched pretty good. And right here, I just have the same kimono jacket. I just bound it, and this isn't even hand stitched. It's all done on the machine. And for accent, I just put a little strip of Japanese print fabric. And then on the strap, I took some different type of Japanese print fabric, and one side, I sewed it like a tube, and this side is that kimono fabric, and then this side is a Japanese print fabric. And all I did was just stitch it and turned it inside out. I didn't have enough lengthwise, so I attached it here with this print. So I have a collection of like fabric scraps and different kinds of fabric. And I have one bin that has like Japanese prints, and then I have another one that's a little bit more ethnic. Then I might have one that's indigo colored types of fabric, and then another one that's more like African print or something. So I just have these different bins with different types of fabric, and I can just reach in and grab a little piece or something. Now, I did hand sew this on because it is super, super thick here, and reinforced with French knots, okay? So all these dots here are all French knots. That's just decorative, right? And the ties, the extra ties, I took it off the kimono jacket, and then instead of a button, I can, tie it like this. This one doesn't have a key attachment thing, so I'm gonna have to put one on here. All right, so those are just simple crossbody bags. And I'll show you another super, super simple one if you don't want to get it complicated like that. This was a piece of silk that I dyed, painted and dyed. And once again, I had a lot of leftover of this bedspread fabric from Target that I actually made a jacket out of. And it was a queen size, so I had a lot left over. And it is quilted. So all I did was just take a rectangle of this, and then another rectangle of the same fabric, attach this, and just slap the three together. And the binding is what holds it all together, okay? And I did the binding on the top too. And then I made a strap out of the same fabric, attached it here, and attached it there. Yeah, because I can see where I stitched it on there and stitched it on the front. And this one, what I did was, because I was selling these and I didn't know what length a person would want it, so I made a loop here, okay? And then I made this long enough, kind of guessed, so that you can thread it in here and then tie it to the length you want it. It also becomes like a, design accent, all right? So you can just tie it. This one does have snaps in there. And these are covered snaps. I don't think I covered them. I may have, okay? But these are covered snaps. It does have a little pocket on the side, something that you need to stitch before you put the thing there. This is so easy to make if you have like a quilted fabric already. All right, so I just bound the edges and then I just stitched the pocket on. The pocket it's stitched on with a machine. Oh yeah, I see it on the back. It's hard to see, okay? But you can see the rectangle. It's not that noticeable. So these are like super simple. If you have like a special fabric, you just slap it on between, two quilted, pre-quilted fabrics and make it. I found out that when people bought these, that they liked it for their iPads. It apparently was the perfect size for iPads. The ones I sold are smaller than this size, but this is mine, so it's a little bit bigger. So, but they told me they like it for iPads. So, because it's mostly machine stitch, this goes really, really fast. Okay. Now, long time ago, I needed to travel and internationally, so I made a bag for travel. Once again, I'm going to have to remove this because it was a bad idea to put this on the outside, and I can just undo the stitches. It's no big deal. It's for the keys. And this one, I just made a simple sack. Once again, I used leftover, looks like quilted fabric, like bedspread fabric, okay? And, just, I pieced fabric together. These are all Japanese print fabrics. And I pieced them together. I did stitch them. And I slapped a pocket on the back, okay, bound the edges. So it was a whole collection of Japanese print fabrics, just randomly put them together. I even have a place where you can put a pen, all right? And then I just put binding on it. And for the flap, I made a separate flap, once again, out of Japanese print fabric, bound it with another type of print fabric. Even have a strip right here of a different fabric. So it's kind of like patchwork. If you're a quilter, this is perfect for you. I inserted a tiny, tiny zipper because this one, I can put some hidden cash in there just for emergency. And this guy has a big, big snap so that I didn't have to fiddle with looking for the tiny snaps. It does have a pocket in the inside. So I made this to put airline tickets in here or a map and a pen. And then I had a place in here. I think this was for, yeah, that was for the passport. And then the whole space, you can put the wallet in there. Okay. So I made this, and the strap is just pieced with two types of Japanese print fabric and reinforced, and it's padded. It feels like it's padded, or it has some extra fabric in there. And it's just hand stitched with embroidery stitch for accent to keep it all the layers together. So this was good. And you can make one of these, and then later on, if you feel like adding another pocket or something, you can probably do that. This is a small size, and because of the new TSA rules and everything, it's a little bit, I need to update this guy. Yeah. Okay. So if I wanted to, this was our first original instantly lined zipper vest. I could put straps on it. And now this is too wide, so it'll buckle like this, okay? But I bet you, yeah, if I made it a little bit like this width, probably work a little bit better. But I can put straps on it. I can lengthen it. Use a thicker fabric maybe. They did, or interface this fabric. So for inspiration, I just have a lot of fabrics. Like I said, every time I see fabric, it could be a placemat, it could be a napkin. I'll just collect them all, and then I should make more things out of it. But for example, here is, I have a whole black and white series too. And this is very thin, lightweight, kind of transparent fabric, and I kind of like it a lot. If you have a fabric that's way too transparent like this, you can always beef it up by putting like white flannel or, maybe interfacing, but like flat or even cotton. Just pre-wash everything so that it all shrinks, the same. But I bought this, and I can use this with my other black and white fabric collection. And I found this napkin. I think I found this at World Yeah, World Market. And it was only $2. It's really thin, but it's got the Japanese crane pattern on it. So I got that. And once again, it's very thin, so I can beef it up by adding a layer of cotton or flannel to it. So I got that for my black and white collection. And I also have, oh, I found this too. These are good. This one probably is Ika and probably made in India. It's a napkin again. Yeah, it is made in India. These are real expensive. This kind of weaving is real expensive if you buy yardage. So I bought this. I do need to pre-wash it before I use it, but this is part of my black and white collection. And let's see. I think this is, yeah. And then here's another napkin. So napkins are probably a good source. I don't know where I found this one. Well, this one's pretty cool too. They have some really cool prints. Usually block printed, usually from India or somewhere like that. Okay. And then this one, this is the same thing. Yeah. It almost feels like linen. Okay. And then this is actual yardage. I actually made a pair of pants out of this. It's really thin cotton fabric, but I like it. And it might go with some of these. Okay. And sometimes this one I bought long time ago in Japan, and it's actually kind of like a dollar store there. They had 100 yen store. It's shibori, and these are really hard to do. These are stitch resist. So these were individually, pulled together and stitched and then dyed. So these are quite expensive if you bought yardage or a garment made from this, but this was from the 100 yen store, I think. And it was 200 yen. I mean, the Japanese 100 yen stores, they'll say 100 yen, but it's 100 yen on up. Some things are, and I'm almost sure this is from China. Yeah, made in China. They had quite a few things that were made in China that were this type of stuff. So it only came in this small piece. And I grabbed it because, for me to do this would take forever. And this is done pretty well. So I do need to pre-wash this, probably in cold water or cool water first to see if any dye comes out. And this is a good indigo thing. I can do, take white embroidery stitch thread and stitch around it or make, connect it or do something fun like that. Okay. And I also bought this hand made fabric. This one I think is yardage. Yeah. It's still cotton. It's still thin. A lot of these cotton ones, especially the ones that are made in India, will fade if you keep washing them. The dyes don't seem to hold up too well. So you might want to, make sure you wash them in cold water. But this one I liked, and maybe too much as one whole big piece, but little sections of it will be cool to make. And I think this is my black and white collection. Yeah. I don't know where I got this now that I think about it. It almost looks African to me. Yeah. Or Indonesian or something. Another source, it does cost money, but if you wanted to design your own fabrics, you can go to places online like Spoonflower. And they also have a cute little, like a Photoshop program on there that you can manipulate your designs. So, and then you send it off and they print it for you. And this was printed on a sample swatch, okay? So this was a silk scarf that I had painted. And I just sent an image in of just a small, section of it and to get it printed. So it's a tiny piece of fabric sample. If I wanted more, I could have them printed, but it is expensive. This one was a painting of a rosebud that I did, a small painting of a rosebud I did in oil, and I manipulated the image in the computer. So the original painting was this. And I played around with it. You can lighten it, you can brighten it, change the colors, and so I just kind of did that to see what it would look like. This was another painting I did of a dove. Okay. And I what is it, multiplied it and reversed it and mirror imaged it. And from a distance, this is what it's going to look like. But when you get up close, those are doves, or yeah, doves. Okay. And I think I have another one. Yeah, I have another one of the doves. So this one was the original painting colors. And it came out a little bit darker, but it might be good. Yeah. And then so they had this like a very simple, easy to use Photoshop program. So I lightened this one to see what it would look like. All right. And the samples weren't that expensive. That's why I have so many of these samples. This one was another painting, and you can see the square with just a simple painting of a tree with a heart in it. And I multiplied it and see what it would look like. Probably should have reversed it too, but it's okay. It's not really that exciting. Okay, here's another one I did on silk. And this one, I actually had it printed large because I really wanted to see what it looked like. Okay, so it's just a section of a silk painting. So do you see the 4 turtles? Those are repeat. And there's a fish there, right? Well, he's been like mirror image right there. And so I kind of like this a lot. And, I don't know what I'm going to do with this piece, but I thought it was pretty cool. Okay, probably should have stuck with it. And you can also, I think nowadays you can choose not just cotton, but you can have it printed on silk or whatever. So this one is, originally they just printed on cotton. So this is cotton, and then this is some kind of a synthetic, like for making backpacks and all that. So the colors came out more intense, but it's the same image. Okay, actually goes this way here, same image. And here's another one of a scarf, and I did the mirror image and everything. It's just lots of fun. This one I don't like because I manipulated the colors of the ginkgo leaves and it just was too garish. And here's another one of a scarf. The scarf actually, it was a silk scarf I painted, and the scarf itself is dark. So it's okay, but do you see the mirror image, the 2 birds and the ginkgo leaves and all that? So it came out pretty interesting. It's really fun to do this. And you can see the images on the computer. You can save it, just create your, I'm sure there's more than one company now to do this. This was done a long time ago. Here's another silk painting I did, and it's okay. I don't like the colors too much that I chose, but it almost looks like a religious mandala or something. Okay, so you can do this on the computer. You can just have your collection of different fabrics, and put them together. Don't be afraid to just try putting things together. You might not want to wear this combination of fabrics as a garment. Actually, this will work nicely as a jacket. So if you're a little bit timid about it, try making a little purse or something first, a bag or something first, and see if you like it. Okay. So I hope you had fun making these zipper pouches, and I hope you, just don't take a simple fabric and do it. Try mix and match fabrics. Be on the lookout for fabrics at, stores and everything. Napkin doesn't cost that much. Start collecting similar looking colors or similar looking designs, and you can come up with some really fun things to make. Okay, so thank you for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye.